In the first part, we dealt with the process of respiration and respiratory system in mammals and its associated disorders. The partial pressure of oxygen in the alveoli of lungs is more, that is 104 mm mercury, than in arterial blood, that is 40 mm mercury. This difference in the partial pressure causes diffusion of oxygen from alveolar air into blood capillaries. Meanwhile, the carbon dioxide tension in the alveolar air is much less, that is 40 mm mercury, as compared to the arterial blood, that is 46 mm mercury. Hence, due to this pressure gradient, carbon dioxide diffuses out of the blood capillaries to the alveoli. In this second part of the module, we shall discuss the transportation of respiratory gases like oxygen, which is diffused in the blood from the respiratory surface to the tissues, and carbon dioxide evolved in the tissues to the respiratory surface for expulsion from the body. Various factors influencing the transportation of gases shall also be discussed. As we breathe, we take oxygen into our lungs and push carbon dioxide out. Our cells need oxygen to make ATP needed for cellular work, while carbon dioxide is the product of cellular respiration. To support the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, about 5 to 8 liters of air per minute are brought in and out of the lungs. About 3/10 of a liter of oxygen is transferred from the alveoli to the blood each minute, even when the person is at rest. At the same time, a similar volume of carbon dioxide moves from the blood to the alveoli and is exhaled. During exercise, it is possible to breathe in and out more than 100 liters of air per minute and extract 3 liters of oxygen from this air per minute. Blood is an aqueous body fluid and is contained in a complex network called the vascular system. It contains plasma and corpuscles like erythrocytes or RBC, leukocytes or WBC, and thrombocytes or platelets. The respiratory gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide are carried by the hemoglobin and the plasma as well. Carbon dioxide is more soluble in water than oxygen, so some of it is transported in the dissolved form in our blood. Some carbon dioxide is also transported by hemoglobin. Not all of the carbon dioxide formed is expelled from the body. Some of it reacts with water to form compounds useful for life processes. Different types of respiratory pigment are found in the different animals. In the invertebrates, they are hemocyanin, hemoerythrin, chlorocruorin, etc. In vertebrates, it is hemoglobin and is found inside the RBC. It imparts the red color of the blood and has two parts, heme constituting about 4% and globin protein about 96%. The globin is made up of 4 polypeptide chains, out of which 2 are alpha and 2 are beta chains, to each of which is attached a prosthetic heme group. The heme is an iron porphyrin ring structure which includes central ferrous iron and 4 pyrrole groups. The iron is joined by 4 of its coordination bonds to nitrogen atoms and by 2 bonds to imidazole nitrogen. It has a great affinity for oxygen and helps in carrying oxygen. The 4 discs in the diagram of hemoglobin are the parts of the molecule where the oxygen molecules bind, while the 4 folded sausage shapes represent polypeptide chains. At high oxygen concentrations, oxyhemoglobin forms, but at low concentration, oxyhemoglobin dissociates to hemoglobin and oxygen. The balance can be shown by an oxygen dissociation curve for oxyhemoglobin. About 1 gram of hemoglobin combines with 1.34 milliliter of oxygen. The greater part of oxygen diffuses into the blood, and at the same time carbon dioxide diffuses out in the lungs. RBCs. Oxygen is one of the substances transported with the assistance of red blood cells. About 97% of oxygen is carried with red blood cells from lungs to tissues. Each hemoglobin molecule in RBC reversibly binds 4 oxygen molecules under high concentration, forming loose chemical compound called oxyhemoglobin, which is bright red in color. The oxygen picked up by hemoglobin gets transported with the blood to various tissues. The oxygen molecules are carried to individual cells in the body tissues where they are released. Hemoglobin reacts with 4 molecules of oxygen in lungs to form oxyhemoglobin, which further dissociates in presence of hydrogen ions in the tissues to form hemoglobinic acid and release the oxygen molecules. 5 ml of oxygen is transported by each 100 ml blood through the tissues per cycle, which increases to 15 ml during exercise. Only 1.5% of oxygen in the blood is dissolved directly into the blood itself. A small portion of oxygen, about 3%, also dissolves in the plasma and is carried in the form of solution in the bloodstream. Now, this free oxygen, before entering into the tissue proper, first passes into the tissue fluid and then enters the tissue by diffusion. In return, the carbon dioxide is given out by the tissues, dissolves in the tissue fluid and finally passes into the bloodstream. About 0.17 ml of oxygen is transported by each 100 ml of blood through the tissues per cycle in the dissolved state. The oxygen transport from lungs to tissues is achieved because hemoglobin has the highest affinity for oxygen at 100 mm mercury, that is higher potential of oxygen in the alveolar air, and low affinity of oxygen at 40 mm mercury, which is prevalent in the tissues. So, oxygen readily combines with the reduced hemoglobin of venous blood in the lungs, and it is readily given off to the tissues by the arterial blood. The release of oxygen from blood is further increased by the fall in pH, increased carbon dioxide tension and rise in temperature, etc. Carbon dioxide is a waste product and must be removed from our tissues to the lungs. We will now discuss how carbon dioxide is transported in the blood. Carbon dioxide, which is produced from metabolism, diffuses out of the tissues and passes into the blood through the tissue fluid and is conveyed back to the respiratory surfaces along with the blood stream. Here, some of the carbon dioxide remains dissolved in the plasma, but most carbon dioxide diffuses into RBC. Blood transports carbon dioxide in 3 ways, namely, number 1, as carbonic acid. About 5 to 10% of total carbon dioxide is carried by the blood in the dissolved state as carbonic acid. Number 2, as bicarbonates of sodium and potassium. About 70 to 80% of carbon dioxide is transported as sodium bicarbonate in the plasma and as potassium bicarbonate in the corpuscles. And number 3, as carb aminohemoglobin. About 10% of total carbon dioxide is carried by the blood as carb-aminohemoglobin, which are loose compounds formed by carbon dioxide and hemoglobin. In the RBC, there is an enzyme called carbonic anhydrase, which enhances the formation of carbonic acid. The carbon dioxide and water, along with strongly acidic oxyhemoglobin, also helps in releasing the carbon dioxide from bicarbonates, carbonic acid and carb-aminohemoglobin. Therefore, the carbon dioxide so formed is removed by diffusion before the blood leaves the lungs. By blood plasma. As carbonic acid in physical solution, carbon dioxide diffuses into the blood plasma and then forms carbonic acid by combining with water, but to a lesser extent as compared to RBC. Carbonic acid diffuses into the plasma where it is used as a much needed pH buffer to maintain pH balance. When the concentration of carbonic acid increases in the plasma, it ionizes the hydrogen and bicarbonate ions. Carbonic acid is very weak acid and is less ionized and less soluble too. Hence, carbon dioxide is transported in this form in a very less quantity. As bicarbonate compounds, most of the carbon dioxide in plasma reacts with plasma proteins which are combined with sodium ions. Sodium proteinate reacts with ionized carbonic acid, that is hydrogen ions, and bicarbonate ions to form sodium carbonate and proteinic acid in plasma. As carb-amino compounds, about 10 to 20% of carbon dioxide is transported in combination with plasma proteins in the form of carb-amino protein. Carbon dioxide reacts with amino group of protein to form carb-amino protein. By RBC, hemoglobin as carb-amino compounds. About 10 to 20% of carbon dioxide is transported in combination with free amino group of hemoglobin in the form of carboxyhemoglobin. As bicarbonate compounds, in RBC the hemoglobin is present in the form of proteins. Hemoglobin is negatively charged and combines with positively charged potassium ion. The dissociated carbonic acid, that is hydrogen ions and bicarbonate ions, reacts immediately with potassium ion of hemoglobin to form potassium bicarbonate, while the hydrogen ion combines with hemoglobin to form hemoglobinic acid. As carbonic acid, when carbon dioxide diffuses into the RBC in presence of catalyst carbonic anhydrase, it reacts reversibly with water in the erythrocytes to form carbonic acid. Carbonic acid further dissociates to form hydrogen ions and bicarbonate ions. The undissociated carbonic acid, hydrogen ions and bicarbonate ions exists in dynamic equilibrium with one another inside the erythrocytes. Negatively charged bicarbonate ions diffuse from the cytoplasm to the plasma. This is balanced by diffusion of chloride ions in the opposite direction, maintaining the balance of negative and positive ions on either side. This is called the chloride shift or Hamburger's phenomenon. The dissociation of carbonic acid increases the acidity of the blood, that is, decreases its pH. Hydrogen ions then react with oxyhemoglobin to release bound oxygen and reduce the acidity of the blood. This buffering action allows large quantities of carbonic acid to be carried in the blood without major changes in the blood pH. Now, the hemoglobin is strongly attracted to carbon dioxide molecules. Carbon dioxide is removed to reduce its concentration in the cell and is transported to the lungs where its concentration is lower. This process is continuous since the oxygen concentration is always higher than the carbon dioxide concentration in the lungs. The released oxygen can then enter into the cells and be used to make the much needed ATP. The opposite is true in respiring cells. Carbonic acid, bicarbonates of sodium and potassium and carb amino compounds are carried to the lungs where they break down under the influence of various factors and liberate free carbon dioxide. The partial pressure of oxygen at which hemoglobin is saturated with oxygen depends upon many factors such as temperature, pH, concentration and presence of carbon dioxide in blood, etc. Thus, the ratio of oxyhemoglobin and hemoglobin in blood at a given time depends upon the oxygen tension. This is known as dissociation curve. It is easier to bind a second and third oxygen molecule to hemoglobin than the first molecule. This is because the hemoglobin molecule changes its shape or conformation as oxygen binds. The fourth oxygen is then more difficult to bind. The binding of oxygen to hemoglobin can be plotted as a function of the partial pressure of oxygen in the blood in the x-axis versus the relative hemoglobin oxygen saturation in the y-axis. The resulting graph is an oxygen dissociation curve, which is sigmoidal or S-shaped. As the partial pressure of oxygen increases, the hemoglobin becomes increasingly saturated with oxygen. The oxygen dissociation curve demonstrates that as the partial pressure of oxygen increases, more oxygen binds hemoglobin. However, the affinity of hemoglobin for oxygen may shift to the left or to the right depending on environmental conditions. Factors that affect oxygen binding. The oxygen carrying capacity of hemoglobin determines how much oxygen is carried in the blood. In addition, other environmental factors and diseases can also affect the oxygen carrying capacity and delivery. The same is true for carbon dioxide levels, blood pH and body temperature. pH. When carbon dioxide is in the blood, it reacts with water to form bicarbonate, ions and hydrogen ions. As the level of carbon dioxide in the blood increases, more hydrogen ion is produced and the pH decreases. The increase in carbon dioxide and subsequent decrease in pH reduces the affinity of hemoglobin for oxygen. The oxygen dissociates from the hemoglobin molecule, shifting the oxygen dissociation curve to the right. Therefore, more oxygen is needed to reach the same hemoglobin saturation level as when the pH was higher. Temperature. A similar shift in the curve also results from an increase in body temperature. An increase in temperature due to increased activity of skeletal muscle causes the affinity of hemoglobin for oxygen to be reduced. It is this reversible reaction of oxyhemoglobin that accounts for the Boas effect. Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide concentration is high in the respiring cells, and so it is here that hemoglobin releases oxygen. Increase in carbon dioxide in blood will cause oxygen to be displaced from the hemoglobin, thereby promoting oxygen release in tissues. That is, the oxygen dissociation curve shifts to the right. Reverse effect occurs in the lungs, shifting the curve to the left. The presence of carbon dioxide, which helps in the release of oxygen from hemoglobin, is called the Bowers effect. This can be seen by comparing the oxygen dissociation curves when there is less carbon dioxide present and when there is more carbon dioxide in the blood. The reaction is reversible. The high concentration of carbon dioxide pushes the reaction to the right. The curve shows that at relatively low concentrations, there is uncombined hemoglobin in the blood and little or no oxyhemoglobin, for example, in the body tissues. At relatively high oxygen concentrations, there is little or no uncombined hemoglobin in the blood. It is in the form of oxyhemoglobin, for example, in the lungs. The amount of oxygen held by hemoglobin, that is its saturation level, is normally expressed as percentage.